Doing another average guy.
Okay. And right. There's the chat. Can you guys hear me out there? Chat. You guys hear me out there? I hope you're not in the other chat. Mm-mm. I hope you're not in the other chat. Uh-huh. Get rid of this one. Am I here? Uh-huh. Oh, shit. Uh, Sorry about this, guys. Sorry about this, guys. Mm-hmm. Uh, Make sure you're in the right one. There's two. There's some two got started there somehow. You're in the right one.
And it's not.
Hmm. Mm-hmm. Nothing yet. Damn it.
Hello, Johnny boy.
Oh, you made it. I thought I was gonna have to resend the link.
I didn't realize you had sent the message. So,
yeah,
do you mind me asking, Johnny? But what is your actual name?
Tim.
Tim. Nice to meet
Those
you.
that call me Tim.
Is Tim short for Timothy?
Yes.
I like the name Timothy. It's
Thank
a
you.
very religious name.
Yes, it is.
That's ironic.
Wow.
I like the name Timothy.
How do I stop that?
Me and Bryony's just talking about like some of the craziness about the Bible. He said that in some place that in the Bible it says if you take two sheep and you put the sheep next to a stripy branch, it turns stripy sheep. So what I was going to say to that Cap Brony is to play devil's advocate. Has there been any scientific trials to show that if two sheep fuck in front of a stripy thing, they don't turn stripy? Because then they could say, well, you've never actually tested the claim, so how can you say?
Yeah, except here's the thing. We know how, you know, genetics and phenotypes and things along that nature work. And with that, so yeah, it's not unheard of for that. We understand that. Also, another one is Leviticus 14, or at least that's what I have it down as. Is that the one? Hold on. Let me go back up and double check my tweets. I had it. Yeah. Leprosy. The cure for leprosy is to kill a bird, dip a live bird in the dead bird's blood, and sprinkle that on someone. Yeah, because leprosy is caused by sin and not a actual flesh-eating bacteria.
Yeah, that sounds accurate.
Yeah, not to mention that the problems that would cause with bloodborne pathogens, let alone not treating the actual problem. So there's just, like I said, so many, you know, issues in the Bible scientifically. I mean, almost any claim the Bible has made on the basis of crap. I'm trying to think of what it.
Oh my God. Is this valid biblically, Brony?
What?
Some guy, I'm not going to say his name because I feel really shitty because I made a video response to him and I called him a dickhead and a moron and everything, and he's 16.
Dr. Guyman, yes.
Yeah.
I actually got into a very long discussion on him, and he's like, oh, no, that's not right. God doesn't change, but, you know, his opinions can change, although his word doesn't. And it's just, I'm trying to convince him to actually do a video of mine. I sent him a link and said, you want to have fun? Go after this. I'd love to see you try and take this one down. And I know he can't because what I've said is accurate. And the thing is, it's all argued from a design point. And I guarantee you he has no design experience. He actually got pissed at me because I called him out for, and he said, oh, so I'm wrong because you're wrong? No, you're wrong because you don't have any credible sources and will not give your source on one thing you cited and I could not find. And the thing is, his sources, when he cited them, so far have disproved him. One was he claimed that Noah's Ark was found. No, it wasn't. That's a rock formation. We know about that.
Yeah, that was really big a couple of years back.
One thing was that gravity is supernatural because it destroys matter, and it doesn't. Even when Neil deGrasse Tyson talked on it, this was a video he was responding to, talked on it, he said basically the gravity of black hole will literally just rip you into your particulate matter. It will pretty much, that's what it does. So no, nothing supernatural there. We understand how gravity and that works. So nothing wrong there. Then he said that someone had discovered there are souls, and yet would not provide a link to any technical paper or to the article he referenced,
Okay,
so I could go back and track it.
I can provide you with a link to something I would like someone to disprove for me. I already mentally, gymnastically have done it because it was crazy to me. But I wanted to ask quickly before I get onto that. So is it biblically correct? I doubt it. But is it biblically correct to say that gay people can't consent to their own sex?
No. I watched that, and I actually got into a very, very long discussion. And one of the points he actually brought up was that rape carried the death penalty in the U.S. And the thing is, no, it doesn't.
The thing is, it's not even. That's the thing in the first place, though. Unless the Bible specifically defines any sexual relationships between men as rape, then
rape is
gay people can consent to their own sex. It's just a sin.
Yeah, and the thing is, rape is acceptable in the Bible as long as a guy raping a girl.
So anyway, the study that I'm talking about that kind of seemed to suggest there was some sort of soul is a study, I forgot the specific name of the trial, where they would test cardiac arrest patients for cognitive ability after they'd been declared dead. And they found I think there was only one specific massive outlier in it, but they found that some of the participants were able to hold conscious awareness and be aware of certain sounds that are in the background, like beeps from machines and stuff, and they were able to adequately give how many beeps were on the machine or how long they were out for. They were able to adequately describe those things, even though their brain was dead, that they were neurologically brain dead. And therefore, some people took that to mean, oh, well, we exist outside of our body then, if our brain is completely dead, but we still have some awareness. Now, my personal way of debunking that, even though I have no expertise, is that the brain is about to die, okay? Yeah. So the brain could just have released all of its last hormones in a fit of fucking rage and allowed you to hallucinate your last moments for longer than you actually experienced them.
Yeah, actually, there's the whole... I mean, I would be interested in reading the study if you have a link to it. I'll try and look at it later.
I'll try and get that now. It was quite an old...
that's fine. I would be very interested in seeing that because I haven't heard of that. But there's been people who have actually groups that in hospitals where they treat basically people who are pretty much ready to die, and what they've done is there's been groups out there that have put signs on top of the hospital, and when people came back, the people who did and claimed to have an out-of-body experience, and they claimed to have gone up and looked over the hospital, they asked them what was on top of the hospital. Nobody knew what the sign was, and no one could do that. It was not. And the thing is, I mean, the really funny thing is that the out-of-body experiences and afterlife experiences usually correlate to be exactly what the person's religious views are.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I thought that. Personally, I thought because you believe in something so vehemently, then when you die, that might just be the go-to. When you die, that might just be the go-to hallucination.
Yeah, exactly. And it's your brain's already failing. So what?
I think there's been a new salacious study. It's on. I haven't read it, so I'm not going to explain anything about it. But I typed in "life after death study" because I just assumed the one I was talking about would still be the most common one. And now, on like when you type that specific thing on quite a lot of different news outlets and science outlets are saying life after death. When you die, you know you are dead. I'm not sure how clickbaity that title is, but let's click on the live. Shall I share the page? Let's click on the Live Science website.
Yeah.
So the Live Science says, are flatliners really conscious after death? And that was kind of sort of what I was referring to.
Okay.
Which would stand against current scientific paradigm, because we believe that consciousness is formed by the brain.
Yeah, can you like, yeah, I was like, if you could send me that link, that would be great.
It might. I haven't even read the article. It might say no.
Well, I'm mainly looking at it for one perspective only. I want to. One thing I've learned from RJ, he was one of the guys in the hangout with Jackson Wheat and that.
I know RJ real well.
Yeah, primary. If it ain't primary, it ain't good. Almost. That's kind of, so that's why I want to try and find where this is based on to, you know, try and track down the original what is, find the original primary source on it. So I'll kind of dig around with that for a bit.
See, I don't think there's much validity in it.
Yeah,
personally.
It seems like it's kind of clickbaity. So I mean, it sounds interesting. I mean,
yeah, I know it does. I'm not saying. I want to find the initial study I had, but because of Google, it just keeps showing me 2014.
Yeah, one of their links, is to 2014. Let's see if it gives me. They really need to cite these better. I'm not finding. I'm not finding. Most of them are just links to other live science videos, which really, makes me question their credibility on this. I'm not saying live science is bad. I mean, they are okay, but
do you know the study in which you referenced a guy reading a sign after being pronounced dead?
Well, no, he wasn't able to. They weren't able. It was people who were trying to. I'll see if I can find that. It's been.
Oh, he wasn't able to.
No. What they did is, and it was done in several places. It's one of the people who go around and try and disprove these things, to show that they aren't real. And it's one of the many things that that they did was they tested they put signs up on top where they could see it. So if somebody had the typical out of body where you raised up through, they weren't able to say what was on there because they weren't there. It didn't, as far as we can tell, it didn't happen. One of the biggest claims I always hear was for a soul is that of the weight, the weight change in body upon death. Have you ever heard that one?
Yeah, that is an odd one.
Like,
but then can't that be attributed to gases and tensions?
Because when you die, you exhale your final breath, and now you have no oxygen or anything in your lungs.
And also your like bowels and your urine release themselves, and you start releasing like the gases that are in between your organs and stuff.
Yep, that would be another one. So yeah, it's just a lot of like I said, there's a lot of woo out there, and that's what the one guy cited is he's saying, oh, this person found a soul, but wouldn't go into what techniques, like the Dr. Guyman or whatever the frick his name is, wouldn't go into what was used, how they determined this, what process were used, a link to the journal, a link to the article he was even reading. because I tried searching the name of the article and could not find it. So really just questionable on it. And then his own source on one thing says, well, archaeologists haven't, if you quote mine this and cherry pick this line, it doesn't seem accurate. It flat out said archaeologists haven't confirmed that this is the tomb of Joseph from the Bible because of lack of physical evidence for the claim. That's enough to say it's not accurate.
Dr. Gaiman makes a claim that they found Jesus's tomb, and I'm like, what? So they found Jesus's remains in the tomb with proof that that's Jesus's tomb, or did they just find a tomb in a descriptive location that resembles Jesus?
Exactly, that's what happened.
It's like not that long ago, they found a odd rock formation in like mountainous region somewhere, and they said that that was the
Noah's Ark, and it was actually just a rock formation that just happens to look like that. It was a volcanic formation. I already called him out on that because when he did his thing, this is what I said. I said, wow, this was my full response. Goes, well, so you use woo as your first point, and well, there's no evidence of souls, and use some random article that you produce, no technical literature for, but not surprised, you are a creationist, so I would not expect you to know what a credible technical paper was. It goes, second, you claim Neil deGrasse Tyson said something he clearly did not. He never said that matter was destroyed by a black hole and that was only ripped apart to the atomic and particle levels. So no, your use of thermodynamics is just wrong. So yeah, you actually listen to what he said, you would know this.
But I think a lot of religious people think they can throw out buzzwords like Richard Dawkins and Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, he was
the same confirmation bias. That allows them to accept what their biblical sources say. They think that works with us, and because a scientist might have said something, that we're just going to agree with them because of science.
Yeah, well, he was responding to him and saying he was wrong. Like, Neil deGrasse Tyson was admitting that black holes were natural and he wasn't. And it goes, I go, but you hear it pulls him into almost nothingness, and your brain says, oh, thermodynamics. And well, you say there is no natural explanation for it, yet he gave it to you with gravity. And it's just, then he talks, I point out that,
there are things that are supernatural, I guess, to certain degrees. Let's define how we define supernatural. I consider supernatural something that will not happen in the natural world. So, well, no. Something that will not naturally happen in the universe. And recently, scientists have seemed to have made time go backwards on a subatomic level, which
I feel
I can explain that further if you like. So basically, they used a property, and I'm not a scientist, I'm not even remotely educated on the topic, so don't take what I'm saying as word, but they took a similar property to quantum entanglement, and do you know what that is?
Vaguely, I've heard it used before. I'm not totally familiar with the concept.
Okay, so quantum mechanics suggests and shows that if we use a process called entanglement, we can make two particles essentially mirror one another without needing to measure the other one. So if we had let's use photons. I'm not sure if they're small enough. But if we had two photons, which are particles of light, then if we measured one photon on the planet Earth and the spin was down, then we would know for a almost fact that the photon that is on the moon, that spin is up. So that is quantum entanglement. It means that the properties of the entangled particles share a correlation with one another to some degree. That's sort of what it means. But like I said, I'm not educated enough on it.
Yeah, I quantum, that goes well beyond. I mean, that goes beyond me. So, yeah.
So there's another principle that is similar to quantum entanglement, but not the same. And I am in no way even nearly educated on it to explain it in any way whatsoever. But they managed to sort of entangle two quantum particles, and they found that okay, so to give you a bit of a background on time, the universal time, why the universe's arrow goes forward is unknown, because the mathematics and the science shows that the events would happen the same backwards as forwards. So the reason we experience time in this direction is still not necessarily completely known, but it's put down to the law of entropy. So
yeah, this is the one I'm thinking of. I'll post in the private chat. And you guys can post it in the public ones. I don't have a wrench. This is the one I'm
so
thinking.
the law of entropy states that a system will move to a state of least energy exhaustion, essentially. And if you have a hot cup of coffee and you leave it in a room that's normal temperature, the coffee will eventually go to room temperature, but it won't go below room temperature because it costs more energy to go below room temperature than it does to stay at room temperature.
Yeah.
Okay, so we think that that is probably a key factor as to why time goes forward, because the law of entropy only works in one way. But then scientists have shown that they can reverse the law of entropy in very specific small circumstances.
Subatomic, right? And subatomic level?
On subatomic levels, yes, Tim. So that I would consider as supernatural. That is something that, to our knowledge, currently doesn't happen in the natural universe without us creating some highly elaborate testing equipment. So I guess in some degrees there are things that are what I would consider personally to be supernatural in science, but that's still a large far cry from God or from a conscious awareness of some kind.
Well, here was actually a paper. It's not the one I was looking for, but it's the same concept. You know, of what they did, but it shows how different elevations and things can affect actual time through Einstein's relativity. What I was looking for was actually an article that I had read back in high school, I think it was, but they took two atomic clocks. They had one on I think it was three. They had two on two ships, and the ships were anchored. So the ships were stationary. Those were their controls, and they were identical. And then it was like about a couple 100 miles away, and they put one in a fighter jet and ran the fighter jet, and the fighter jet was actually, I think, ran it was however it worked, but it was either faster or slower or whatever it was, but however that one would work, I think it was actually faster.
Well, the satellite's moving at 18,000 miles an hour or whatever. Their clocks have to be adjusted for that difference.
So you have to figure all that in. And that was one of the ones that I had read that they had done they were more or less like they knew how it worked there, but I think they were studying it here on Earth.
Yeah, see, that is a key part of how we perceive time, but there's a slight difference there. See, time perception and how we experience time is subject to relativity. So depending on where you are in space-time and depending on the speed you are moving at through space-time, depends on how you experience time. But
you can't
objective time is more based on entropy, because subjective time is just based on our awareness of how time passes given a speed. But objective time is more based on I guess it's hard to explain without using the word time, but the process it takes for one system to find a state of balance with another system. I think that was a really, really shitty way of explaining it.
The expansion of the universe.
Yeah, I think I know what you're trying to say, though. It does kind of make sense. And like I said, with that, it's I was just, like I said, just trying to.
No, we're just talking about sciencey shit. I'm not trying to disprove you or anything.
Yeah, I was just, I just like when you were mentioning, you know, one thing. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that would be this, and I thought that's where you're going. That's why I was looking for that particular. Because like I was like, well, we kind of went on that, and that was where I had read it, and it was a very interesting, you know, thing.
What else is remarkably interesting is how we perceive the universe in contrast to how it actually is.
I just
like when we sit on the sofa, we kind of just view it as, well, my body sat on top of this body, the sofa being the body.
Yeah.
But reality is that the magnetic force between the particles that create my body and the magnetic force and the quantum wave, and there's a whole lot of different complex science that goes into it. But essentially, the particles actually repel one another. So the reason I can't walk through my wall is because the not the electrons, but the multiple particles that make up the wall actually repel my particles.
Yeah, that's yeah, I think when I first heard that one, I think it was Michael Kotaku. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the last name. I think he had talked on that. That was, I think it was, I want to say he was one of the ones but yeah, Johnny, correction on my name.
Are you talking Mitchie?
Oh, correction on your name?
Yeah, I just put in the private chat of how, yeah, not cap, C-A-P. And Brony, not Bronny. No, you're fine. Yeah, no, you're fine. I was just like, I just looked at the thing. I'm like, oh, wow, that's
Mitchie.
Yeah, him. Sorry, sorry. I couldn't think of it.
Kotaku's like a gaming website.
No, there's actually a physicist. He's probably, correct me if I'm wrong here, Johnny, but I think he's best known for what, string theory?
I'm not.
You know who I'm talking to, right? I'm talking about, right? I mean,
Michio Kaku is the actual name of the person I think you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think.
Maybe I'm wrong though, but he's a really smart man. Has a lot of YouTube videos.
Yeah, sorry, I can never pronounce his name right. Yeah, you're right on that. He's, he's very, like, he says something, I'm just like, wow, that's freaking awesome. I mean,
science, the universe is just unbelievably complex. We interact with things, and on an everyday basis, I pick up my cell phone. I'm talking to you through a microphone. I am watching a TV whilst doing it, and my house is connected by a network that spans the earth. Like, we interact with so many different things, so many different systems on a daily basis that are so far out of our comprehension. I don't understand how any of us are bored, because there are so many things that we don't even know about that will give you a midlife crisis.
Yeah, there's, oh man, just, I mean, if you want to sit there and just go, wow, at anything. I mean, this is why if I ever feel bored, like if I'm ever like, I'm just like, wow, there's like, I'm ever feeling, or even kind of sad or anything. Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about contemplating the universe is just enough to make you go, how can you be freaking depressed when you live at this time in history, in this universe, in what all is going on? I mean, Neil deGrasse Tyson, I would love to sit down for an hour, 30 minutes even, with Neil and just pick his brain.
Mel got to sit like a couple rows in from him, didn't she?
Who?
Scientist Mel?
I don't know.
She was on the chat with Jackson there the other day.
Yeah, I know who she is. I don't know. She might. I hadn't heard of her until that.
Yeah, she's a live stream talking about it.
Who are we talking about?
Scientist Mel.
Oh yeah, I've never actually spoken to Scientist Mel just one-on-one. I've said hello to her in live streams a couple of times.
Yeah,
She seems really fucking cool. I really want to just chill and talk to her
She loves
one day.
She loves to teach. That's what I like about her the most. It's
And
like,
yeah, and that's one thing I actually really like. One of the reasons why I want to take, when I go to K-State, I want to take a biology class because I mean, I want to learn as much as I can on science, because I would love to be able to turn my YouTube channel, when I get a better understanding of it, almost into a science communication channel as a way to communicate some science. Because I mean, because I love teaching. I mean, that's why I'm actually in the process of working on scripts for some history videos I want to do, where I talk about different things, history that aren't covered as much.
Actually, if you're interested in that, I'm actually working on history of creationism when it comes down to Ellen White, when she transformed the Seventh Day
mine's a little more American history, so little off on that bit. Like Revolution, like one of the people who never get talked about, that you never hear in the history books, who really should be in the history books, but James Armistead.
James Armistead? I'm not familiar with that.
Oh my. Yeah, this is why I want to do my video series.
I'd be really interested in it.
Yeah, I'm about halfway through his script, but basically, long story short, he single-handedly helped, pretty much was the turn of the tide in the Revolutionary War. Without him, I don't know if we could have won. I really don't. He was a slave. He went to his master and said, "Hey, I really like I really like the Americans and believe in what they're fighting for. Can I go help them out?" His master at the time said yes. And so he went there, and he was really close to the Marquis de Lafayette. He actually later changed his name to the James Armistead Lafayette. Now, Armistead was the name of his master, so that's why he had that name. And what he did was, he went to Lafayette and said, "I can spy for you. They will talk in front of me and won't even realize I'm there." He became part of the wait staff of one of the higher, I don't remember who it was, but it was a higher ranking British general. And they were discussing all their plans right in front of him. I mean, yeah, so he knew what was going on, and we'd come back when he could and give it to Lafayette and tell him what was going on. Later on, he goes to the way I've always heard the story told, and I'm sure some of this is kind of embellished a bit just for, the story's sake, but the way I've always heard it told to me was, he went to Marquis de Lafayette at one point and looked at him and said, "They know I'm a spy." Now, of course, anybody knows, if you were spying against the British, you got an English necktie very quickly. Now, Demi, you get what an English necktie is, right? During the Revolution.
Well, I kind of deduced what it meant, but I've never heard of that term here.
It was an American term for basically a noose. It was, they were going to hang you during that time period. That was.
Yeah, well, we are pretty shitty.
Well, I mean, that's why we both played, because we knew we were better. See, we know we're better, so that's why. No,
no. I would say back in the fucking Revolution, you were better than us. But let's not compare fucking ancient America.
Yeah, but basically, what happened is the British general, because mind you, Armistead, when he did his when he went to wait on the generals, he had the big sad sob story of, "Oh, my masters are so mean to me. They beat me every day. I mean, I'm just so mistreated, and I ran away to fight for you for freedom." Because at that point in time, the British were offering freedom to all slaves, to runaway slaves who fought for the British against the Americans. So that was one of the things there. And one of the, very, points on that was, I'm still looking up some other events, because this one event I think is attributed to him, and I'm not sure, and I'll get into that. He went to, and he was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll spy for you." And he went to the Marquis de Lafayette and told him, they know I'm a spy, and he asked, where's your necktie? And basically goes, no, they know I'm spying for them. They want me to spy for them, and I said yes. So what bad intel do you want me to give you? Now, again, I'm not 100% sure on this. I'm still looking into this event, but when the British held New York, they pretty much they were controlling the tide when they had the harbor, taken, and they had it controlled, and they were in New York, which was basically separating the northern colonies from the southern ones. And now, again, I believe he was in on this. I'm still looking into it. So anybody who hears this, don't quote me 100% on it. I'm not 100% sure myself. But if I remember correctly, he told the British, he went back with information from the Marquis de Lafayette, I believe, that said Washington troops coming down from the north to attack New York to try and take it back. And the French fleet was coming with them. Well, the British go, well, we're going to cut them off. So they start marching north and take their ships up north. Well, guess where the troops were? They were down south. And, well, they turn around and realize, crap, we've been screwed. They come back, and guess who's sitting there in New York waiting for them? The colonist army. And the French fleet, after the blockade leaves, the French fleet comes into New York Harbor and then forms a blockade against the British. And really, that helped turn the tide. And another one, we were so lucky. I mean, so many things went right for us that should have not gone right. The crossing of the Delaware, the very famous crossing of the Delaware, the three-prong attack at once that, really turned the tide on the war, that should have been stopped immediately. That should have never happened. Because the general at the crossing of the Delaware, the one that Washington was a part of, that group of men knew Washington was coming, but didn't do anything. Now, to clarify on that, he got a note that Washington was crossing the Delaware and was headed to them and to be ready. Now, he was playing cards at the time, the general was, and he grabbed the note, stuck it in his pocket. Well, Washington comes prancing in and takes the camp. And of course, he goes out to fight. He gets shot. And as he's dying, the way the story goes is he pulled the note out that said, Washington is coming, be ready. And that was pretty much when it said he died there. So yeah, just that should have been stopped immediately. We got lucky there. A lot of our skills did come from fighting the Indians with the guerrilla warfare tactics, because downside of the British was they were too professional. They had the whole stop, ready, shoulder arms, fire, and they had to go through it repetition. We just would pop up, shoot you, and then run. So that was one of, and we knew the land too. So that was, advantage to us too. Sorry for kind of digressing into American history there.
All right.
I love history. Another fun question for anybody who's watching or has seen this, or does see this later on.
I find it hard to align myself with any side, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, I know. But little fun trivia.
I don't align myself with the British, because look at the fucking atrocities they've committed over the time.
Yeah.
But I don't exactly commit myself to America, because really the rich Americans were the only ones that really cared about it having independence, so they could make the money off of the country themselves, not the English.
Well, that and a lot of the people were feeling their taxes, and that's where a lot of it came from, was hatred there from the unfair
look at America's taxes now.
I'm not I'm not saying that we're perfect by any stretch. No, we got a lot of things we need to fix here.
Yeah, so does England.
That's a topic for another day. That could probably go on for a couple more hours.
England was England was recently labelled the only the only Western society whose economics is growing. I forgot what the actual term for it is. The amount of money that our country makes is consistently growing, but the amount of money that the citizens get is consistently falling. And we're the only country that has a stable economy that has a citizen living rate higher than anywhere else.
Yeah. Now, here's a question.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Scientific proof that your consciousness exists after death.
What's the website?
I'll put it up here as soon as I get it.
Yeah. One of the but here's a trivia question. Either you or Johnny, or if anyone else is watching in the chat wants to try it. Which war and what was the name of it? What was the first sub ever used in warfare, and what was the name?
Don't have a clue.
Johnny?
Say it one more time. I was typing
What
thing
was
here.
the name of the first sub ever used in warfare? And
Submachine gun, submarine.
Submarine.
Submarine. Huckleberry. I can't remember.
The Turtle. Revolutionary War.
Okay.
It was a submersible vessel, and it was used to try and destroy the HMS Eagle.
I do remember
New York Harbor.
Yeah.
And most people say the Alligator in the Civil War. That was the first sub. It was really the first, really more or less submarine, but the Turtle did submerge, so it was technically a submarine vehicle. It wasn't quite like what the Alligator, which was more sophisticated. It was literally, it was literally the best way to describe it was a barrel that sunk a little and had a breathing tube that popped up, like, one of those.
Okay. So while you just mentioned, and I'm sorry, I'm detracting from history, but my brain just focuses on any of the science relating to anything. I have never Googled it, and I'm assuming you might know because you know who the fucking first submarine was. So
it's in my area. Like I said, it's usually what most people don't know. Here is
how does a submarine actually submerge itself? Does it make the cabin pressure greater than the water pressure?
Well, it only went down, if I remember correctly, a few feet because it had a breathing tube that he could breathe through. So it wasn't very long. It actually had to be towed out by rowboat. And what it was is the guy who originally piloted it fell ill. And so with that, the guy who was basically also learning it, who wasn't as proficient, had to step in. And so what happened was what it was is you were going to drill a hole in the Eagle and then attach a bomb to the Eagle and literally sink the Eagle, which was the flagship. So that would have just dispersed the blockade immediately.
So what is this consciousness after death thing, Johnny?
Yeah, that's just the one
I seen it, and I said I got to look at it to see what kind of crap it is. And
yeah,
I already got down here to right about there.
Yeah.
However, the great spiritual traditions have been telling us just the opposite for millennia. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. To quote Teilhard, Dad Chardin, I don't know how.
Brony, I think you might need to turn your headphones down a bit or move your mic away from your headphones.
Oh, really? Sorry.
Yeah.
No, not you, Brony. Brony?
Yeah.
You might need to move your mic away from your headset a bit.
Well, my mic's away from it. I mean, I have a headset. I don't know. God, hold on. Let me mute and unmute.
Am I really quiet?
If you mute yourself, talk, Johnny. Let me see. It might be my mic.
Oh.
No, I think it's you, Brony.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
okay. Well,
it's squirrely. Sorry if there was echo, but yeah, but yeah, there's the link for the.
So the great spiritual traditions have been telling us just to... Okay, I'm too far away from my TV to read this. Let me get up.
Somebody will get it.
All right, I'm standing up. I'm by my TV. I'm carrying my mic. The great spiritual traditions have been telling us just the opposite for millennia. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, to quote Teilhard de Chardin, whoever the fuck that is.
Yeah, I was about ready to say, oh, if you're
But
gonna,
you'll have to take that promise on faith. Mainstream science tells us that there is no reliable evidence to back it up.
yeah, I was okay. I'm glad I wasn't reading that, because when I got to the quote, I would have probably read it like this: "We are spiritual beings having a human
Okay, let me do
experience."
it.
Sorry, you gotta do a mocking voice for that.
Okay, let me do it in a weird. Let me figure out a voice I want to use for someone.
I'm sorry. I love doing voices. It's voice acting would be my ultimate dream job if I could ever do anything. So I have a whole bunch of voices that I do.
Check out a couple of my videos I did.
Spiritual traditions have been telling us just the opposite for millennia.
Perfect.
We are spiritual beings having human.
I was only going to do that for the quote, so just because it was so stupid, you had to do a mocking tone for that. But yeah.
However,
but anyway.
Yeah.
is this mic that quiet, or is it just too loud, or what is it?
Did you want me to? Did you want me to read the rest?
Why is it mic to get better or get worse?
No, I think I'm the one who has reverb for whatever reason with you.
Mine's got feedback.
No, I think. Well, my things aren't going up when you're talking, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I was just stood right next to my TV to read that, so that you might have heard my TV.
Oh, okay.
Well, I didn't see your things. It's like a very short delay, so I don't know. I don't know.
Well, however, the great spiritual tradition. However, the great spiritual traditions have been telling us just the opposite for millennia. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. To quote Teilhard de Chardin, but you'll have to take that promise on faith. Mainstream science tells us, as there is no reliable evidence to back it up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Then it just goes on there, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I have if we ever do quote scripture, I have the perfect voice for that. I actually have what I call my God voice. So I have a lot of fun voice. I actually have a demon voice too, which
I can do a lot of voices, but because I'm fucking trans, anything that goes below this pitch, I feel super insecure about.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, my God voice is just basically. I actually learned that one from actually the Ten Commandments, is where I kind of based it off of. Is you know, Charles Heston's God, which is. Lo and behold, I am thy Lord Yahweh. Obey me or perish. Now,
damn dirty apes.
I actually, my demon voice, I actually did just for the hell of it, and I found out the hard way. I found really quickly that apparently one of our subs was Catholic. Never saw the sub ever again after this incident. I mean, because basically, I was a class clown in high school. I loved playing jokes, loved having fun. And I was in history class. We had a sub in there. Now, I was sitting and we had assigned seating, and I can't imagine why mine was always right in front of the teacher's podium. I was a good, honest student. I never did anything wrong, and I followed the rules. Yeah. How come I'm feeling no one's buying that one? But what happened is the sub that we had called my name. I just kind of stared blankly in front of me, like I was zoned out. One of my friends, you know, who sat by me, hit my arm and pointed at the sub, like, you know, answer them. And I looked up at them and I went, I am not here unless Satan, and I'm going to eat your soul.
You made my
The
cat freak out.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't trying to. But I did that really deep, gravelly, gruff voice, and the sub reached down into his shirt, pulled out his rosary beads, clutched them, and started praying. I never saw the sub again. My first thought was, oh dear God, I'm gonna go to jail for manslaughter because I get the teacher heart attack. That was my first initial thought. Because I was like, the teacher went pale white. Backed against the wall, clutching the beaches, praying, and I look back and I'm laughing, but I never saw the sub again. I can't imagine why the sub stopped subbing there. So yeah, that was yeah. That's one of my fun stories from high school and history class. I just love doing voices because they're fun.
I actually did a lot of voices too.
Funniest memory I have from history, I only went to first year of high school. Well, that's the equivalent here in UK. So
Okay.
I didn't have many history classes, but one of the ones I did have, it was this old, bald white dude, really skinny and tall.
Yeah.
And he came into the classroom of like about 26 to 30 kids, and he just walked in with his two fingers up at everyone and just kept putting his two fingers up at everyone. And everyone just started laughing, like, what the fuck are you doing? You're swearing at us all. And he turned around and went,
okay,
no, this is history. And he kept doing it. And then he explained to us like where that saying came from in history, and I just always remember that.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
basically, when the British were fighting the French, the British would cut off the French's both fingers.
Yeah. I can
And
still
then they would,
look
and then
naive.
as an insult to the French, they would put their two fingers up to them, sort of say, "Ha, look, we've still got ours."
Yeah, I can still pluck my U. I've always heard it as it was always the middle. The way I've heard it is, I think that story is kind of probably based somewhat in reality, but I've heard it through many ways. Is says America is the middle finger, and I've heard it was derived from Scotland and Ireland, as they were cut off the index finger, so you didn't have your index finger to pull back. So they would basically flip them off and go, I can still pluck me you. And from there, it kind of, that story probably might be based somewhat in history, but it's probably been told so many times it's become legend more than probably so much in fact on that. I would be interested on where that actually derived from first.
Well, I'm sure what I said was history. Let me just double check it.
I've heard so many variations of that. That's why I was kind of, it's probably based in some history somewhere.
So where did the double finger did the double finger gesture originate? The salute dates back to the English longbowsmen who fought the French during the 100-Year War between 1337 and 1453. The French hated the English archers who used longbows with such devastating effect.
Yeah.
Any English archers who were caught by the French had their index and middle finger. Oh, so it was the English.
Okay, yeah. Like I said, I'm sure that there was some basis in truth somewhere, and maybe even the Irish and Scottish one maybe had some basis in truth too. I mean, there's just, like I said, I've heard many different variations of the tale.
Oh no, okay, so it's still the English people created the gesture as a sign of you haven't got my fingers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I said, there's a lot of, like I said, variations on
Let
that.
me look where the middle finger gesture came from.
I think it's a derivation of the two finger salute. So
giving someone the finger
I could be
is one of the basest violations. Oh my god! Oh my god!
I don't think that's the one we're looking for, or is it?
This is a fun little write-up. Giving someone the finger is one of the basest violations in modern culture. but the origins date back over 2,500 years. The first written record of this insult occurs in ancient Greece, where the playwright Aristophanes, at the Adam Sandler of his days.
Okay.
That was some shade. Made a crude joke about mixing up the middle finger with his penis.
Okay, that I had never heard that particular story. Oh, okay.
So the middle finger's actually older than the two fingers. That dates back to ancient Greece.
Yeah, that's wow. Okay, that's interesting.
It's pretty cool. It started by like a playwright talking about playing with his dick with his middle finger.
Yeah. There's a wow. Yeah, so it's yeah, just all kinds of I mean, history is always fun. And like I said, I really think that if history was, as I say, taught properly, I think it would become almost immediately everyone's favorite class.
See, I think it's hard to really say taught properly, because the problematic thing about history is so many people find so many different parts of history fascinating. So, personally, I find anything between the 17 or even 1600s up until now is rather boring, other than the technological developments and industry developments. But when I look back at ancient Greece, ancient Egypt, and like fucking Mesopotamia and shit, that really, really interests me. But I have to sit through fucking the French Revolution and all the other shit I have no interest in before I can even learn about the stuff I'm interested in. So that's what I don't like about history. When you learn history at school anyway, you typically learn all of history, and it's annoying to me because I don't need to know all of history.
Now, actually, I'm going to work off your point on that to actually clarify my point of being quote-unquote taught right. Now, I do have a reason for saying that. You said you like ancient Greece in that, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Why is that interest you the most?
I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's just something that's always interested me. It's it seems to be kind of those areas. Although I know Mesopotamia really is the cradle of civilization.
Yeah.
But those time frames in our history were some of the most novel and unique time frames in at any point in our history, and there are so many unknown questions surrounding them and their civilization and stuff that I just find remarkably fascinating.
Okay. Now the reason why I point to ancient Greece is a lot of, and around that time period in ancient Rome, and that is most of those have stories that are attributed to them. Whenever we're learning about like even the French Revolution and even along those lines, it's you have most of the times when and this was really bad with American history, especially revolutions. I had a lot of friends who I made history fans, got them interested in it, because when you're taught history, a lot of times it's, especially with American history in the U.S., and I'm assuming probably British history is probably the same over there in Britain.
You guys know this girl at all?
Who?
Surf Puzzle? You know her at all?
I don't think so. But what I was saying on that real quick, sorry, is most of the time you are taught history as dates and places. You're never taught the stories that go along with it. Whereas I can't tell you the story when the Trojan horse happened, but I know the story of the Trojan horse. Most people do.
How do I spell that YouTube name?
Surf Purzel, Purzel. She does flat Earth debunks, and she's pretty funny.
Can you type it in the chat for me, please? Carry on.
But yeah, that's why I say I think most people find those interesting, is because what's more fun to listen to? A story such as the story I was relating James Armstrong, or would you rather have me say, well, on such and such a day, a guy signed up with the British pretending to be wanting to serve them, but was actually, what's more interesting, the story or the date? And what's easier to remember?
Well, the story.
And
let
that's
me
why
let me just put it like this. If I was to say to you, 1947, then 1964, then 1992, then 2005, without any other information, that wouldn't be an interesting story, would it? That wouldn't be adequate. That wouldn't be adequate information, would it?
Yeah, I want it. And that's why I think
you need the story of history to validate the dates, really.
Yeah, and that's why I think.
Thank you, Tim.
With history, it should be taught as stories, and that would be the best way, I think, to teach it. And I think if teachers started teaching that way, history would become an all-time favorite subject, I think, because most teachers teach as like, well, July 4th, 1776, the Declaration of Independence was signed. The on whatever in 1812, the Battle of New Orleans was fought. It's like, okay, that happened, but it's like, tell the story. It's a lot more interesting, the story behind it, and it's easier to remember. And that's why I think, history needs to be taught that way, personally.
Yeah, I think that's the...
And that's why, most people know the stories of Greece. Most people know a fair bit about Greek mythology. Why? Because we learned the stories. We weren't given the dates. We were told the stories, and that's why we remember them. And I really think that would be the best way.
Do you think that's the only reason? Like, a part of me just thinks that ancient Egyptian and Greek mythology is so much more interesting than
it is. But if you know the stories, and to an extent, being a history teacher, if I was ever to become a history teacher, you need to be a darn good storyteller. Because it's really, I mean, I could sit here and read, any story, and if I don't make it interesting, I'm not a good storyteller. Why would you want to listen to me? Because really, history is story time. I mean, I was not really ever a fan of World War I, World War II time frame. Really, after the Civil War, my interest kind of, peaked down on history. That's kind of where it dropped off after the Civil War. But I had someone tell me a really interesting story about a World War II soldier, and it re-piqued my interest in there, and I started learning more on it and learning more and finding more of the stories. And it's just, you have to be a good storyteller, I think, in order to do history. It really, that's, I think, key.
I would agree.
Because if you're just going to do, on this day, this happened, nobody's going to remember any of that. I mean, it's just, you need to be able to tell the stories that go along with it so people will remember it. And then people are going to look forward to history because it's going to be a fun, way to do, a fun way to, make it happen. If that makes sense.
I'm trying to find a video there.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, kind of sorry for rambling there. I just, like I said, I get on something I love, like history. I can go on forever.
That's great, because now it gives me time to do something.
Yeah, that's right. If I get talking too much, just tell me. I know when I get on history, I can just really, as you see, I love history and I'm knowledgeable. So I can go on and on literally for hours on just his American Revolution alone. Another really cool figure in history that I feel is really cool that doesn't get talked about, but was an absolute war hero is Dr. Joseph Warren. I mean, I could talk on him for a while. Just yeah, like I said, really cool guy. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm kind of rambling here.
I find it would be great. I'm having a tough time finding it. I didn't realize there had all these freaking videos. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Like that's almost every 3 times a week.
Johnny, I can barely hear you. I'm not sure if that's
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
No.
I moved the mic back. Sorry.
Yeah, I was having a little trouble too. I had to raise my volume up. Yeah, it's just like I said, it's history is just like I said, a topic I have an absolute passion for. What video are you looking for? Just wondering.
He did a debate with a Muslim on there, but it's the first time that I wanted to show you the comment section that I got into. The very first time I met a young Earth creationist.
The first time I met one was actually in church.
In church?
Yeah.
I got lucky. I met him online. Or her, actually.
Yeah, because I was still going to church then. I want to say I was still in high school. And I remember someone said, literally used the no true Scotsman, you can't be a real Christian unless you believe a young earth. And I'm like, I had never heard the term young earth or old earth. And I'm like, what? And they go, yeah, you need to believe the earth is 6,000 years old. And I'm like, that's not right. I've known since 3rd grade that's not right.
Yeah.
Because in 3rd grade we were studying, in science we studied dinosaurs. That was one of the first times it was brought up. And our teacher said, 65 million years ago they went extinct. And me being, just like I literally is why I said, how do we know it was 65 million years ago? Just I want to know how they know that. And it's, the teacher said, well, we have, different dating techniques. We have carbon-14, but for this, you need something a little bit more sophisticated. You need something like argon dating or argon dating. I'm like, okay, to me, that was interesting. And from there on, I kind of knew. It was like, yeah, that's how it's done. We know how it's done. And it's just like, yeah.
The thing is, I think a lot of religious people and just people in general don't accept that. Like, they'll say, oh, well, you've told me about argon dating, but what is argon dating? And then when they learn what argon dating is, then they'll say, so then why is this valid? And then it's quite hard for a scientist to answer why a method is valid when it's already been proven to be valid.
Yeah, because it's proven to work there.
And obviously, if you're a well-educated scientist on these very specific methods, then you probably will be able to explain them adequately. But a lot of people,
and that's where actually,
we know this fossil is this years old because of carbon dating, but we don't really ever really explain how that actually gives us an accurate or adequate measurement.
Yeah. And one of the people I got in an argument with sent me a link that said why carbon-14 can't be used to prove an old Earth. And I'm like, I fully agree with you. And it was an Answers in Genesis article. And I'm like, I fully agree with them, except they're dishonest because they know we have other things besides carbon-14. Yeah. And they know this. And they're dishonest about it because they are expecting their flock to not know about it either.
The Earth creationists are like a nefarious kind of an ilk, I think. They seem nefarious anyway when you're...
Well, the leaders are.
Yeah, like people like AIG and Ken Ham and things seem nefarious.
Yeah, they are. Now, people like... I have a friend he's a yak. He actually asked me to listen to a set of sermons that someone did, and I am still, as I make this joke all the time, but it's very true, I'm trying to find a way out of that, out of a comment I made in a video. And I just actually had a subscriber message me earlier saying, when are you going to do this? You said there were 12 parts. You've only done one. And that was like 5 months ago. When's the other part coming out? I'm like, there any way to get out of that statement? I said I would do all 12, and I'm regretting every bit of it.
That's the thing. And never make statements or commitments.
Well, I was doing it like, okay, it can't be that bad. Then I finally listened to part 2 and 3 because I was doing it one at a time. And I'm like, oh shit, this is gonna be bad.
See,
I
that's
am.
the thing. I committed to releasing 4 videos a week.
Yeah,
And I'm already like 2 weeks into it, and it's already really hard.
yeah, I know, and that's like I said,
But I
that's
have to
why I
stick to it.
suggested
I have to stick to it because I told everyone that I was going to do it. And
yeah,
when I hit a point where I don't think I can keep doing it, then I'll just make a video telling people I
Yeah.
can't. Like, I
No.
don't get paid for making videos or anything, bitches. I'm just doing this because I have no life.
Yeah. Well, that would be actually helpful if we did like the Bible study, weekly Bible study, me and you, because guess what? There's a video right there. There's at least one a week.
Oh yeah, I can't.
Bullshitting.
I don't. Unless I'm running out of video ideas, I don't typically count my live streams as videos.
Oh, okay. I was trying to help you out there.
No, but it's okay. We can still do it. I still have
Yeah.
I have a weekly-ish or
Yeah.
bi-weekly live stream talking about science and shit. So I still
Yeah.
do live streams.
Yeah, I mean that would be, like I said, if you did like a, what like I said, I'm pretty open on however you want to do it. I'm pretty easy going on that. But yeah, the past few times I've had a good excuse. I was in school, so I was saying school was taking precedent, even if it wasn't at the time. That was my excuse. So yes, if any of my subscribers come by and watch this, yes, I was lying when I said I was busy with school. I was trying to avoid. I was thinking if I didn't do it long enough, you guys would leave me alone. But no, they want to see part 2.
Well, you should never have promised your subscribers part 2.
No, and I'm regretting that decision. I figured a 2.5 hour one of me going through this guy's an idiot. He's wrong. Blah, quote mine, lie, quote mine, and it's
You
really
don't
just.
have to. I don't know how long your videos on this are, but they don't have to be that long every time.
Well, the thing is, the way I do it is it's an hour-long sermon, and the thing is, I don't have any real way of downloading it, and I'm very lazy, so going through and cutting it is just. And then that way, if I do the full thing, no one can ever accuse me of quote mining. I'm playing it in full, making sure that you know about it. And it's. Yeah, and the downside to me is
quote mining. That's quote mining, isn't it?
Back in a second, everyone.
Yeah, well, if I'm playing the full thing, they can't say I quote mined it because, well, it's all there in context.
That is silly.
Yeah. So yeah, it's all in just like I said. It's the guy's name is John MacArthur, and he is about as dishonest as they come. Now, granted, this is from '99, so it's kind of around the big Kent Hovind video that Logic's doing. That he needs to get the next part out. Logic, if you're listening to this, do it. I want the next Kent Hovind part. And so, but yeah, that's me, and it's. I just like I said oh, okay, yeah, it's like I said, mine is just not like I said, mine's just like I said, my things are just as is type thing. Because I do it in one take. I don't only 3 episodes I think I've ever scripted. 3 videos.
I hardly ever script my stuff.
Mine was and most of them were kind of needed to be. Most everything else is just kind of off the cuff stuff. 1, 2, 3. My most recent video I had a script for that I followed. And that was the same Young Earth Creation sent me questions that were asked in The Atheist Delusion by Ray Comfort. So I had that. And then my video about a game. I did a game idea kind of headcanon thing that I had. And then I did my why intelligent design is not intelligent. So those were the only ones that were scripted. And I go through and break it down and that. Now my atheist delusion one is actually kind of funny because, well, as you know what Ray Comfort's nickname is, right?
Banana Man.
Yeah. So you know what I played at like the opening 10-second song? The Banana Boat song. Yeah, I was like, man, that's like, I'm like, that's too perfect. And so yes, my opening bit has just the Banana Boat song and it's literally just, yeah. And I scripted that out. Like I wrote his question down and read it. I was too lazy to download the video and cut it up. I'm like, whatever. I'll just read the questions. Then I don't gotta worry about copyright crap.
All right. You guys see the screen?
Yeah.
This is my imitation of a young Earth guy.
Synchronized, dichotometrically opposed finite paradox is an inconclusive conclusion, a question to answer. Answered with one question, therefore this sentence has 6 words, while this one has 5. Today will always be the day before tomorrow, and even if you don't decide, that decision is demonstrably not demonstrable. Are there any questions?
Yeah.
I said about as much as they say anyway.
Yeah, I've actually thought about doing a like Poe type channel just for the hell of it.
Let's do it. I'm in.
Yeah, like a young Earth, flat Earth, Poe channel. Like, I mean, hold on, yards. Come on, Illuminati, Reptoids, you name it, it's gotta be there.
Yeah, there's plenty of material there. That's for sure.
And then with and since I have a design degree, I could actually maybe argue from design on that too. That would on young Earth creation. I mean, I grant I argue against it all the time, but I might be able to use design terminology that might benefit. There's just, like I said, I mean, they are so easy to make fun of. They really are.
When I first came across someone, it was like, I think it was the Behe wow factor or something like the wow signal. That's SETI, right? Or something like that. With the wow signal. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was Say who did that.
Yeah, and then she actually cited something that PZ Myers wrote. And that's I think the first time I even heard of PZ Myers. That was like 2 years ago. But I was like, there's people that believe that the Earth is that old, and I was like, really? I look out the door. You see that? We got technology. That's impossible.
Yeah, and the first time I heard of a flat Earth, like people believing it, was about a year ago, year and a half ago, maybe. And what it was is there was a guy. I don't even want to give his name on air because I don't want him to get any credit. I am not making this up. He literally thought demons were sent through the mail. Like, there's a video he has of that. This guy is batshit crazy. Earth is flat, and I'm like, oh, he can't be serious. A few episodes later that he talked on, I'm like, oh shit, he's serious. How do these people still exist? And the thing was, I was like, how? Just how? So yeah, that was one of my first, and I figured out it's very easy to debunk flat Earth arguments a lot of times. It really, about 90% of them, I would say, or at least 90% of the ones I've seen, come down to providing they're actually arguing something on the shape of the Earth is either relative level or relative motion. Those two they're going to try and argue against. So yeah, that was some of my first experiences with them.
Oh, yeah, it's shocking to say the least.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this guy is serious. We know what shape the Earth is. We can prove it. We have trig, we have calculus, we have just so much, and the whole water doesn't stay on a spinning ball. Yeah, when you use a tennis ball, guess what? The tennis ball doesn't have the gravitational pull needed to hold it, and it doesn't have. And also with that, it doesn't have the centrifugal force as well from the spin. So yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, I want to get that one guy to go over my one video, and and the thing is, yes, I mean, like I said, when I heard that, I was like, that's one of the dumbest things I can think of. Like, how?
Pretty close to it anyway.
Yeah, it just it baffles me. I mean,
sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying it just baffles me of how they can say that.
What am I doing here? I forgot what I was gonna do. I hate when that happens.
But yeah, like I said, I did ones where I replied to the atheist delusion ones. I have a I actually have a debate. I have 2 debates on my channel, and I've already stated I'm not debating anymore. Because both people I debated were dishonest. I'm like, all right, you guys don't want to play fair. I won't play.
Did you debate on McRae's?
No. It was the 2 debates I have. One was they hosted on their podcast, and then later on we had an agreement that I would host one on my channel.
No, it's not up debating. I'm just all about keeping on asking questions until they.
I wanted to do the second one as a question and answer, but they didn't. I'm like, fine, whatever. I don't care. But literally, this guy, you're going on my channel, and I argue, against this kind of crap, and you're going to use it knowing that I won't let it slide. Here's how bad it was. I predicted every argument my opponent used, save for one, because I thought the guy would have enough integrity not to go to that one. You know what his argument was? Sin.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I stopped right away on sin because it's like, well, what is it? And then nobody really can actually identify it. It's just what Eve did when she ate the apple.
I wasn't like looking at that, and it's just, I mean, I mean, he was, very, very dishonest. And the thing was, I pointed out every argument he used, and I even got him to admit his God was outside. His God did not exist in so many words. He used special pleading, and I showed it. I'm like, because he said, God's outside space and time. I said, so just so I heard you clearly, your God, you admit your God is outside of space and time. He went, yes. I said, you do realize that you just admitted that your God does not exist because you just admitted he exists at no place and at no time, therefore does not exist by definition. He's like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm like, no, that is exactly what that's why I asked. I wanted his words to say yes to that question. I know how to word a question very, very well enough that I know, because I predicted he would use infinite regression. He would use blah, blah, blah. I mean, I pointed it out.
It's mental masturbation woo kind of that they use.
Yeah.
Like William Lane Craig, it's like, I never fall for that shit.
Yeah, it's, there's a lot of idiocy out there that's just like, you gotta be kidding me. So recently I've been doing more atheist stuff, but I did gaming for a while, and I want to get back into that. I just haven't had time to.
I'm gonna get into This is actually an animation. I started doing a couple animations. Like, I kind of like that because I like doing voices too. It's like,
Yeah, if you want someone to do some voices, I can try and do them for you.
no, I'd love get more characters, the better.
Yeah, if you need a Southern hick, I can do that.
I can do
I-
a lot of them too.
One of my math teachers in high school, he was from Bama.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I forgot. He's from Bama. He taught like this. And I'm not doing this to insult him. He literally sounded like this. Southern hick Bama. Roll Tide. Yeah, he was he was a great math teacher. He knew what he was talking about. But yes, imagine being taught math with that accent. Nobody skipped his class. Yeah, just all kinds of, just like I said, I had fun doing voices in high school. It was I have a I did have an insanity voice. I haven't done that one in a while. Like an actual crazy person. Oh, how did it go? Crap. Because I did it for my psychology class once.
Here,
I remember
I'll
how
play
I
this.
did it.
There's a couple of my voices right here, actually.
Okay.
Hey, it's me, Sonny. Yeah, today we're gonna test out some science here. Can God create a God? That is the question. How is yours? This is the question. Yeah, it's the question. Okay. Let me see. If the question is, can God create a God? We must do some testing and we must create a hypothesis. Yes? Yeah, I guess so. Okay. Let's do this. Can God create a God? There's something here that I'm missing. I don't see what it is. What is going on? Okay. Let me see. Well, there's no God in the equation. There's no God in the equation. We must have a God. Please bring me a God so we can make this experiment work. All right. Yeah, I'm ready to go. One God coming up. Okay, so I guess there's no God to demonstrate.
I know it's cheese, but so what?
Yeah, so
Hey, more than I can do.
can't even get to the hypothesis. Well, tell you what.
I cheated with the animation with him though.
Later. Yep. See y'all later. Hey, Johnny. Why don't you come up and see me sometime? Well, there's always sunny here. All right. Okay, so we have searched everywhere. So, no, there is nothing to be found. We cannot find anything that would demonstrate what a god is. So therefore, yes, this experiment is done. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I'm pretty flexible with what voices I use, or what I can do. I try to be as flexible as I can.
Alrighty then. I guess yeah, well, no, I guess we can't even get to the hypotheses here, so I guess this experiment is done. Well, let me think here.
Yeah, exactly. I'm out of here. Bye.
Yeah, like one of like what was that I did? Trying to remember because I did it in psychology once, like I like because it's psychology, so that's crazy people, right?
Well,
Oh yeah, I remember what I did. I kind of curled up, like I was sitting in the chair, and I had like my arms across my chest, like just like in a very closed position. As the teacher walked in, I started kind of rocking slowly back and forth, and I said it kind of like this. I'm like, nice comfy room, nice comfy room. Shh, shh, the voices, the voices, they're talking. Get them away. The teacher just looked at me and like, the teacher knew me. It was like, really? You're going there?
are you old enough to remember the Great Karnak on Johnny Carson show that where he do the mind reading thing with the envelope on his head and blow it open or whatever?
No.
Do you remember that at all on the Tonight Show?
No. How old do you think I am?
I was just asking how old you were. I didn't know how old you were. I never actually.
I'm 27. That's a little before my time.
47?
20.
Okay, it is before your time. Yeah, I'm old. I'm 50.
Okay, yeah. I was like, that's a little before my time, Johnny Carson.
Dang it, that's just dating me now. Remember that? That's pretty.
Hey, you know what?
I recommend looking it up or whatever on YouTube. And
I know Johnny Carson that, and I'm not I just don't remember ever seeing that one.
One of his main characters, it was like an ongoing character, he wore a great big turban or whatever. He'd come out, and then he was called the Great Karnak or whatever. Then Ed McMahon would he'd read the question to the answer or something. No, he'd read the answer and then he'd read the question inside the envelope. That's what it was.
Yeah. There's what's what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, but yeah, as far as dating myself, I mean, here, all right, I'll tell you this. I love old movies, old TV shows. I love that. Yes, I mean, when I say old movie, I'm talking Danny Kaye, Bing Crosby, Cary Grant. Yeah, I mean older. Yeah, your generation of movies.
Cary Grant, that ain't my generation.
Close enough.
Not quite. Yeah. I would have been like the late '60s, early '70s Beatles.
Yeah, like John Wayne is another one of my favorite actors. Yeah, just like I said, I love the old musicals, TV. I mean, actually, me and RJ literally talked for like 3.5 hours one time just on old TV and movies. And the thing was, we still had a lot more we could have talked on. He just had to get going. Because after one of his evolution hours that we talked.
Yeah, I like RJ.
Hello. I'm going to have to leave the stream. This has been really fun, but it's now 12 o'clock in the afternoon here, and I've done nothing since 8 o'clock this morning.
Oh, it's 6 in the morning here.
Yeah. Oh, hey, you're on Central? Nice. Yeah. I'm on Central too, so yeah. That's why I was like, hey, Central time. The only time zone that matters.
Yeah, no, bitch. Don't even. All right, I'll speak to you both soon. Give me a message or something.
Yeah.
I could for the monetization thing because
Tim.
Yeah.
I was going to say hurry up, but it sounds really bitchy. But I'm joking, okay? But hurry up with the advert.
Yeah.
I really want to see it. It's going to be so funny. It's so much better than my idea.
I'm lost. What's going on?
So me and Johnny are working on a collaboration together.
I'm gonna probably work on that. I gotta get a little bit of sleep yet today, but I'm gonna.
Don't put it in front of your health, Tim. I'll see you when I see you, or talk to you when I talk to you.
Yeah, we'll bump into each other sooner or later, I'm sure.
Bye.
All right, take care. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah. Well, there goes the only interesting part of this stream. Lord knows I'm not interesting.
I know.
Yeah, no, I'm just but yeah, I actually know RJ through actually Sci Strikes movie night.
I think I subbed to
That's
Sky Strike at about
yeah,
60 subs. I was the 60th subscriber.
yeah,
James was like a 6th subscriber, same with Jackson Wheat.
yeah. Yeah, that's actually where I met Peter with gonna go for it. That's where I met him.
Yeah, he's the one that did that guitar thing on my intro for my videos.
Yeah, yeah, he's working on one for me, which I'm grateful for. But yeah, like I said, if you ever want to know anything on history, I would love to. I love, as you saw, I love talking history.
Well, actually,
That-
I want to do a little bit of like a documentary series on
Yeah.
on the history of creationism, how it started with Ellen White, and how she started the Seventh Day Adventist, and then I heard Rulon talking about it one day, but I had James.
Yeah.
I'll call him James.
Yeah, that's fine. RJ, James, whatever you want to. I call him RJ, so because that's what he goes by on the streams. That's what I know him as. But yeah, very like he is. God, super knowledgeable. I joked with him. I said, "Is there anything you don't know everything about?" He goes, "Sports." I'm like, okay, that might be one that I might agree because it seems like when like we were talking old movies, and it's like, I mean, I love old movies. I know for a bit about them. I was sitting there going, okay, don't know that, don't know that, need to put that on my list, that on my watch 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 list.
He's got to be one of them that has that super memory or whatever you want to call it.
Oh God, yeah, he has to. There's no other way to describe.
I bet if they did a little thing on it, he fit all the categories of that. Because he's just a well of everything. He retains everything, man.
Yeah, and I have both his books.
Yeah,
so you got.
I don't have any of his books, but I've known him for a while now.
yeah, he's very very interesting. A very very smart guy, fun guy to talk to, and he's just I mean I have a lot of respect for him, and I like him a lot too. He's just a really cool, all around, just really nice guy.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, like I said, I only know him really from movie night and somewhat Evolution Hour, which actually Evolution Hour, the last one was actually the first time I was on with PZ because he came in on that. So that was actually where I first met PZ, and I was like, yeah, that's cool. I have a lot of respect for PZ Myers. He's very knowledgeable. And then he was on Jackson Weed's thing, and that's where I was like, hey, that's cool. That's where I first met Scientist Mel.
He did that video response to Peterson or whatever, and boy, did he get the troll freaking army on him on that after that one, huh?
On who?
The Jordan Peterson worshippers basically kind of trolled who came after him or whatever. I call them the troll members for him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that reminds me. I was thinking about that. But yeah, I actually got blocked for I challenged a creations museum. Now, mind you, they have someone who has a doctorate. Now, what the hell it's in, I don't know. But I loved all this because it's just like it's so funny. Now, mind you, I just have a little lowly technical certificate of drafting. Nothing fancy. So what do I know, right? But the thing is, when because I reached out to him and said, hey, I run a YouTube channel. I take apart young Earth creationist arguments, and I would like for you guys I would like to talk to you guys. I won't let you, I won't let you dodge questions, but I would like to know it. And they thumbs down that comment. I said, so I take it by the thumbs down. That's a no. They didn't, they had seen it, and I waited about 10 minutes from the respond. I'm like, all right, fine. I said, now before you answer no, because it doesn't take 10 minutes to write no. And so I said, now before you answer no, please know this. And I quoted 1 Peter 3:15, the one that says, always be ready to give an answer to those who ask. I said, now I'm just asking you for, an answer. And I'm just asking for it on my channel. Now, I wouldn't want you to burn in hell forever because you didn't listen to your God's word. And, they saw that pretty quickly, waited another 10 minutes for an answer. I said, all right, fine. You got till 5 p.m. Central Time. I expect a response by then. If not, I take it that you just don't want to see it. No, they didn't respond. But I actually got blocked from commenting on their page.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You want to know what I did? I presented evidence. Because they were trying to say how the bombardier beetle couldn't have evolved. And I posted the Talk Origins paper and the peer-reviewed article that the Talk Origins paper referenced in the description of that video. I said, here it is. I doubt this comment will stand, but here's the information. And my comment mysteriously vanished and I got blocked from commenting.
Desert File, do you know him at all?
Yeah.
He was
Gravity!
he was doing
Ever heard of Gravity, you fucking retard? Gravity! That's pretty much what I know of as. So yeah.
Yeah, that's I think a couple people reposted that from mirrored that for him or downloaded it from him and used it.
Yeah.
I'd like to use it one day.
Yeah, I mean I just so it's so yeah.
I'll be right back. I gotta go grab something quick.
All right.
You still there?
All right, I'm back. Yeah.
There we go. This is a project that I was.
Yeah. Oh, these people are funny. So in the EX, I literally what's funny is it was a 1-on-1, then it became a 4-on-1, then it became an 8-on-1, and then it literally became like a 16-on-1 against me. Because they kept calling it like people like, oh come on, that like they're like, oh look at this, and then they start commenting. I'm like, okay, fine, I can take you all on. I don't give a shit. I responded to you individually, and basically they were saying like, oh, like someone said I'm because I swore and I used the F-bomb quite a bit. Again, I don't know if you're okay with swearing on your channel, so I just don't want to swear too much. It's like I'm not educated. Well, then tell me why I effing graduated near the top of my class for drafting from a top 20 effing school for drafting, which where I graduated from, they're ranked like 19th in the nation for tech schools.
Oh, okay.
So they're like in the group that does it where they look at as graduation rate, pay upon graduation, and like job placement. So all three were like top there. So yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's why it was like ranked 19th in the nation. So really good school to go to where I went. And it goes, and they go drafting, LOL. I go, yeah, the effing field without what I effing do, nothing would ever get effing made. You like anything, yeah, it would not be possible without effing people like me. And again, they were complaining about my profanity, so you're gonna complain about it. I'm gonna use it more. You know that, right? Like how I am now is not really how I am. I don't usually swear a whole lot. I go, and then they go, except for financial people like me that fund anything and everything that you design. Without me, you can design all day long. Nothing is finance. Yeah, but shit don't get, you still aren't going to get it built without me. We make the shit happen. I have no clue if that guy works even in anything finance wise, but whatever. And if you want guess what? You can go ahead and say I don't have a degree. I have it posted on my Twitter as the picture of my degree when it came. I go, well, you see, to find, well, you seem to find my degree funny, so I thought I would inform you that you are wrong, and what I do is pretty damn effing important. And they go, this person just responded with important, maybe funny. You think it validates your opinion? Absolutely. No, never said it did. Person said I wasn't educated. Another person did. So I was just clarifying where I wasn't, and you seem to find my degree funny. So I was just, yeah. It's just, it's these people are hilarious. It's
Yeah. Well, one thing that I like is I like talking to people to find out what makes them tick. I like to hear their thoughts. I like because people. Everybody thinks so differently, and I mean,
oh yeah,
you know as well as I do, the flat earthers. That's like, wow, that is a totally different
and
way
I'm
of thinking.
okay with with talking to someone, but if you're gonna just start going and being an absolute idiot,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna play. I'm gonna play nice. I am not known for
I don't even care if you believe the Earth is flat, but don't go running around like it is true. Whoop. I don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why these people are like, oh, and someone said this. Oh, you really want to laugh? Someone on the tweet said the Bible is the most historically accurate book. No, not accurate. Sorry, not accurate, but most archaeologically accurate book. Yeah.
One of the things that got me started actually even looking into science woo and all that was probably about 8 years ago. One of my best friends, he's like a theist, he believes in all that or whatever.
Yeah.
If I didn't know him better, I'd be like, yeah, you're nuts. But
yeah,
it's that okay. But anyway, he believed that he could get a perpetual motion machine to work and make it work, and so I started looking on there to fruit. He was sitting there trying to put magnets together in all these different directions, and it's like, dude, that's never gonna work. Don't you understand physics? And there's no work that comes out of a magnet,
I'm looking at one of these guys. He's trying to cite shit, but literally, let me give you, some of his, stuff. He has something from what's called the trumpet, which from what it looks like, looks to be pretty, pretty well that it was the Bible. Then he has something from the CBN and BibleArchaeology.org. Not exactly what I call reputable sources. I think they might be a little biased. And so, yeah, it's just like, I'll let them comment all they want. I'm done talking with them because they're just absolute idiots.
Was the one that taught me the most about it.
I've had my, I've had my fun with them, I really have. I mean, there really isn't much more to say. They're just now spewing just idiocy.
Yeah.
Like one person said, literally, where is it?
Like the Red Pill religion. They're just, what are they? Just a hate mongering group.
Yeah, where they're like, they're like, oh, atheists are just like this. They all lie. I'm like, where have I lied? And one of the points that they said was, one person said, I don't bother with your arguments. Here's my argument, has word arguments in quotes, because you're childish, obnoxious, dullard, undeserving of any response but scorn. Not because they have some amazing substantive quality. I can assure you they don't. In short, you're a bad parody. Grow up. So my response to him was not, very nice. I said, so disprove my effing butt. I'm giving you the cleaned up because, again, I am on your channel, so be a little respectful. I said, you F-wit? Oh, wait. I have science on my effing site, and you have what? The ramblings of goat effers? I haven't got a response to that comment yet. But, like I said, it's... I mean, and I love how people claim, oh, the Bible's against LGBT people or people who are gay. People get mad when I point this out. Remember, Jesus spent years in the desert with 12 men and no women. What do you think they were doing? They had to get some fun somehow. Again, I know I am very, I'll admit, I'm very anti-theist. I do find religion to be.
Yeah, before I even was outspoken about being an atheist,
Yeah.
I mean, I was never ashamed of being an atheist. I never really hit it, but I just never found it. I never found a good reason to ever
Yeah.
engage as a kid. It's like I never. If you don't talk about religion, they don't really bring it up. If you don't start,
Yeah.
and you know how to push their
My
buttons if you want to, but
yeah, and again, I go after people on my channel who I feel deserve it.
Yep.
And one of the things I have is that I find just when I came as atheist, of course, I live in a small town of 930 some people, and inside the city limits, there's 3 churches. If you include the one that's about 2 miles outside of town in the middle of the country, it's literally on a country road. That's
Well,
4 churches in a town of 930 some people. We might argue 1,000 for the few people that, and it's not even going to be that, and I'm being very generous, for the few people that might be the outliers in that, country area.
That's what one church for 200 and
Some
333 people, right? Or
Pretty
something like
much, don't near close enough. Well, no, 250 if you include the
that.
4.
Yeah.
If
So
you
you got 4
include the
churches.
4 with 1,000 people, yeah. So it's not like So when I came out as atheist, of course, news spread quickly, and I knew 2 people who were at the local pizza joint where I live, and I saw them and I heard them talking, looking over at me. I heard them go back to talking. I heard the words atheist, and then they looked over at me. So of course, I'm a smart ass. I gotta have some fun, right? I looked at them and I went, "A booga booga booga, I curse thee with 1,000,000 demons. May they torture your souls forever in hell." Their faces went pale and they basically grabbed their stuff and hightailed it out of there. I was trying so hard not to laugh. Oh,
I'm gonna have to check out your channel. You know that? Actually, I probably should get going here because I gotta get a couple hours of sleep before I have to put some sheetrock up. So
yeah, here I'll put it in the chat so you can in the private chat. So
I gotta check out your channel too because it's like I was gonna do that last time when I seen you when you're talking up there with RJ and everybody or whatever.
Yeah.
1,000 subscriber special or whatever.
Yeah, I was on that. I was like, "Hey Jackson, can I join in?" And I try to be knowledgeable on what I know. I actually found an article that I actually sent to RJ, and he didn't have. He's like, "Really cool article. I'm glad you found it." And he's like, "I gotta add this." It was about the development of basically walking from what we had. Yeah, because like my videos are like I reply to the atheist. These are my these are my atheist, quote unquote atheist videos. I provided to the atheist solution. I interviewed a friend of mine, Tornado Pell, who's also on Movie Night. He's a Christian. It wasn't like I wasn't trying to challenge views. I was just trying to figure out how he justified Genesis 1 and science. Then I had my after show debate, which Peter was just he didn't let them slide. He held their feet to the fire and they were like, and he's like, "Well, prove you're God without the Bible." And he was not like, I wasn't good. I was just sitting back like, Peter's got it. He's got this.
I gotta find this one clip because I remember one night just all of a sudden Peter came up on my feed that he's going live with I can't remember the name of the guy, but he argued with him. Peter was asking him some questions to help get some definitions down, and the guy's like, "I'm putting you on mute." Peter couldn't get another word, and then he got kicked out of it. And it's like his debate was
I think I remember him telling me about
G-Man. He's going to debate G-Man, I think.
Oh yeah, that would be and then I have my debate intelligent design where I was making the claim of why intelligent design was intelligent, and I fully proved that. And he was just then there is a 6-hour live stream I had, but only watched like the first 45 minutes because that's the actual part that pertained to it. Yeah. It was the first time I ever went live, so I was sad. If I sound nervous because it's my first live stream.
It's a little bit. It's before I even started this one up.
It's like, so yeah, literally this is live. If shit screws up,
I'll tell you what though, it's been about 13, 14 hours now that I've been doing this, so I'm not nervous anymore.
yeah. So it's called the pros and cons of religion, and that was where I had Steve McRae on, Midnight Sparrow, a couple other people, where I literally would sit there and their easiest questions were, tell me who you are, tell me your name, and are you an atheist, theist, whatever. That was your easiest question. Like one of the last ones I asked is, what would you see as one of the biggest pros if religion vanished? What do you see? And I asked him, what's one of the biggest pros that religion offers? Trying to be fair. It's, you can, like I said, like I do PMVs and stuff, and actually the first two on my popular videos, those are AMVs that actually my girlfriend did, which I have.
Oh.
Yeah, my two most popular videos are not actually two that were done by me. They were done by my girlfriend who asked me to upload them.
You got a face docs anywhere?
Yeah, if you actually look at the pros and cons of religion, if you go to my videos and then scroll down, you'll see it. That's my face right there. I don't care if you see my
Oh,
face.
yeah. Okay, I see it now.
Yeah, that's me in the thumbnail. That's literally me.
Awesome.
So yeah, and even if you go down further, way in the way back to my earlier videos, I mean, you have to go on the video there. You go all the way down and into the second page, you have 3 videos of me from doing. One is the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge when I got challenged to that. Another one is a react to season 5 finale of MLP and season 4 finale of MLP. So
I got Doom. You played Doom, huh?
yeah, I started that. I'm regretting how I did it because I'm doing it as a 100% completion, and I'm beginning to realize why Doom is a speedrun game.
Yeah.
It's frustrating to do 100% everything, but yeah, if you like go down to the very bottom, that's them there. And
yeah, I played that for a while, and that's about the time that I was starting to get out of video games, though.
Yeah, it was just one that I enjoy. So,
man, video games just took up way too much of my time. I had to quit them.
oh, parents so just responded to me about where I am immature and only deserve scorn. It was my one where I called the Jews a bunch of goat effers. So yeah. I'm really debating whether I should have a little fun with them some more. I really want to, but I'm already pushing it with Twitter, so maybe I should.
And really, I don't know. If you're just trying to piss them off, yeah, then fine. But if you're
it's kind of gotten to the point where this has just become entertaining for me.
Yeah,
it really has. It's become okay. How dumb can these guys be?
Yeah.
I already got one person to block me, so I don't have to worry about one.
For a long time going. You just never know. There might be an argument, but it's pretty hard to say they're ever going to find one now. It's
yeah. I mean, it's so. It's like, yeah, I got science on my side, which has all the evidence, and all these other people who know more than I do, because I'm an idiot. I'll be the first to admit I'm not that intelligent.
I'm trying to use a weird analogy here. It's like I'm looking at someone that's holding a weight out fully extended with his hand, and he's just dropping it, and it hits the ground every time. And he's claiming gravity doesn't exist every time he does that. And he says,
exactly. One
more time. Let me do this. And it's like, eventually, I'm going to come to the conclusion that gravity does exist.
and I've had people say gravity doesn't exist, and I've asked them this. I said, okay, so I should not be able to figure out if I throw you out of a plane at 10 miles in the air, I should not be able to calculate how long it will take you, knowing your body mass, to hit said ground. I should not be able to calculate that using gravity.
I say put your head up on a guillotine and test it against that, see if the gravity exists or not.
Yeah, it really does come down to that. And it's like, you got to be kidding me. These people are just, how? I mean, how? Just,
I don't know.
I mean,
I can kind of see, I can kind of see as it being some sort of to follow. They're following other people. They're following beliefs that other people said to them. And I think that's part of our trait that helped us survive. Our 10 years survival is kind of dependent like that.
Yeah, we had hierarchies, and that's what we had because, again, we are a social species. We're going to make social constructs.
Even if it's a fake thing behind them weeds, usually the one that went to be curious about what's behind them weeds was the one that got eaten for supper, and the other one got away and passed on the genes. So
and the paranoia you feel of, that most people attribute to God is another survival instinct. Because guess what? If you thought you saw something move in the grass and you got away, well, you live to see another day, whether there was or there wasn't something there. But if you thought you saw something in the grass, you're like, oh, I should seeing things, and there was something in the grass, you became dinner. And it's
That's
not
right. Curious George became the not so curious George anymore.
very bad. And like I said, there's just so much, because it's like I said, these people are just so dishonest, and it's funny is that I'm now, like I said, I've had to take on all the people. You can go to my Twitter and look at me. I mean, you can read this conversation, you can tell me you think I'm right. I've had a few people join in, but not because I called them in. I mean, I'm still willing to go against them 16 on 1 or whatever the frick it is.
I've been down the whole path, man.
It's like, because like I said, I mean, I point out where, well, we have this, and they're like, oh, you're just presupposing this. No, I'm not. That's where the evidence points, you lying little. Yeah.
It kind of sucks with all the essays that you leave all over there, and then they just kind of come back and refute you with this really stupid, absurd freaking refutation. It's like not anything.
Yeah. And the guy that, like I said, the one about the animals that screw in front of certain, pattern branches, the guy literally, I tweeted at Jackson after he said this, because I remember Jackson bringing it up in his live stream. I thought he would get a laugh out of it. I haven't heard back from Jackson on whether or not he saw it or whatever. But he literally points to genetics. And I'm like, you do realize you just refuted your own Bible. But he's trying to claim that whatever. And it's funny. And I had a guy say, oh, where are you? You go, I doubt you have any higher education. This is the guy who blocked me, if I remember correctly. I don't see him in the comment thread, so I can't see his shit anymore. Funny thing is, he followed me. But yeah, he follows me knowing I'm a hothead. I mean, I have a lot of, I do. Like, granted, I will say this for anybody who's watching that comes across and they come across my channel. My anger, to an extent, is a shtick. Yes, I do get fiery and I do get passionate. I make no secret on that. It is
passionate is probably a better word for me when I get, because when I'm especially when I'm like with my friend and he's sitting there trying to push it.
Yeah, like with me, I mean, yeah, to an extent, passionate, but I'm like, no, you're stupid and you're an idiot. Here's why. I probably could just go, no, you're wrong. Here's why, if I was doing normally. But because I think what's more fun to watch? Someone getting angry and passionate and fiery, or just some guy going, yeah, you're wrong. Here's why. What's more entertaining?
I always liken that to when in Gladiator, when he took the sword and said, is this not what you came to see? And then threw the sword right at the audience.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Yeah, that is, I love Gladiator. But the guy was like, and the thing is, the guy, that's when he called in like his 3 other friends and it became a 4-on-1. I'm like, yeah, go ahead, call your friends, that ain't gonna help you. And
facts, man. They ain't gonna get there.
Yeah. And it goes, the guy's like, what do you have? Like a high school education? Because I have shit grammar. I know that. In fact, actually, my grammar I know is bad enough. But believe it or not, I actually started writing a novel. Yeah.
I don't know. I've probably this past 2 years, I've increased my vocabulary probably by like 20,000 words, probably.
Yeah. And another thing is, they pointed to Louis Pasteur saying that disproved abiogenesis with his spontaneous biogenesis. Yet the funny thing is, they are calling me an idiot when I point out that's exactly what their Bible claims of what he disproved. Being of life just spontaneously sprung up from everywhere. No, that violates what that says. And they're like, no, that's not what it says. I go, yeah, it is. And I point out that, we also use vaccines, and that's evolutionary medicine, and we use that to this day. And it's just, it's funny. And they're like, evolutionary medicine, that's not real. I go, yeah, it fucking is. Vaccines are like, Louis Pasteur was a young earth creationist, and he's responsible for vaccine. Ooh, nice try, but no. That is not true.
I think the worst and the most dissonant people are the breatharians, but they don't really stick around for too long. They end up dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird, man. Have you ever seen a breatharian talk about his how they try and not
And
eat?
so what I said was, I said, no, Louis Pasteur did not create the first, vaccine. He was not responsible for vaccines. I said that was Edward Jenner. And that was in 1796 for, you know what disease it was for?
I don't know. I don't recall.
Smallpox.
Okay, yep.
Now that was well before Louis Pasteur ever was
He
even
discovered the
born.
cowpox on there, and then he did something with
Yep.
the vaccine.
Now Louis Pasteur perfected the idea, but not responsible for them, like they tried to claim. And so it's just
was Louis Pasteur the first one to observe bacteria with a microscope, or am I wrong on that?
I don't know.
Observe it. That he's the first one to observe it and catalog it, or
I don't know. He kind of perfected the technique. I believe I remember he kind of perfected the technique of vaccines. But the
Twilight became popular. I don't think grammar would stop it. That's what Lady Unicorn said in the chapter.
But yeah, it's just there's a lot of, like I said, points that are out there, and it's just these guys are absolutely funny.
Yeah.
So
wow,
it's
I forgot that I was gonna shut down here. You're gonna make me talk all day, aren't you? No, I better get going.
Yeah, sorry. It's just these guys are funny, and it's just they are laughable.
I love this shit, man.
Yeah, I mean, I love doing this stuff too, and it's like I said, I'm pretty. I try to be pretty, easygoing and stuff, and like I said, if you ever want me back or whatever, and
oh yeah, and you're more than welcome to come back anytime, man.
Yeah,
hope you invite me on one of yours.
I don't know when. I don't know when I'll do my next live stream. I really don't do a lot of live streams.
You know what? Until you get a little bit more used to Hangouts, it just sucks to do it because you gotta go back and forth to the windows, and it sucks.
Yeah, and that's why I like doing with Size. I'll let him do all the technical backside of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I hope to be able to do that with Demi and that for the for the for the Bible thing. So like I said, I mean, she does have some point, and she makes a good point. I can see where she's coming from. It's just some of the things I think some of the things she said, if someone who knows their Bible a little better, I think would be able to take on some of those arguments. And that's just, I mean, and it's not anything against her. She doesn't know the Bible that well. And that's why I offered, my to do that with her, with the Bible, like a weekly or bi-weekly or every other week type thing, live stream where we'll talk on it. And, and I can kind of be there to kind of, because I've studied it fairly thoroughly. I love when people want to play quote the Bible with me. It's so much fun.
Churches give it out piecemeal. They don't read those little chapters that have the really bad, icky, bicky, bloody stuff in it.
Yeah. It's they cherry pick the good stuff, and it's really. And I've had people say, "Oh, Jesus was a guy of peace." Oh, really? So Jesus would never advocate drowning someone because they hurt a kid's faith.
Yeah, you gotta digest the Bible with our filters in place.
He wouldn't? Well, I believe it's in Matthew where he says anyone who causes a child to stumble should have a millstone tied around his neck and be dropped in the ocean. Then Jesus saying, yeah, drown people and kill them if they make a kid stumble and their faith.
I always tell them that you gotta get your toenails plucked out by pliers or whatever back in the That's not in there, is it? Yeah, it is.
I don't remember that one.
I'm just kidding.
I was like, if it is, I do remember that. That might be why I don't remember it.
It was in a Chinese Bible, I think.
Yeah, but no, there is so many just insane.
Beliefs.
Yeah, it's like
Correct there.
so many things in there that's just like, yeah, I'm. Oh, but yeah, it's you gotta love, all the craziness of the Bible. I mean, I have like a 7-page Word document of just Bible verses that are just so screwed up,
Yeah.
and I have it categorized of like I have it as slavery, women, people you're supposed to kill, and then other.
The Bible definitely is not short on fallacies, that's for sure.
No, it's wow. I mean, I've had people go, and the thing is, people are like, oh, that's Old Testament. Oh, really? So Jesus never said no letter of the law shall pass, or heaven and earth will pass. Heaven and earth will pass before any letter of the law becomes invalid.
What perpetuates it is it's in somebody else's mind, and it is just assertions, and nobody can prove it. So you just go along with it with your trust factor. And that's why it perpetuates itself.
And that's why I always ask, and I go, and according to Jesus, what was the law? Well, that's the Old Testament. So what did he say there? Well, no letter shall pass away. So what does the Old Testament say? You can occasionally, I've got a few people where I can start to see the wheels starting to move. Like that hamster finally got a jolt and started to slowly move forward to try and turn that wheel.
Yeah, like my friend I told you about before, I'd get him on free will, and that kind of that finally got them cogs. They're actually turning a little bit,
Yeah, I love the free will argument because they're like, oh, you have free will. I go, really? But God's omniscient, right? He knows everything that's going to happen. Well, yeah. I go, how do I have free will if he knows what I'm going to do? They go, well, you have free will because, you have it. You make the choice. I go, but if he knows what I'm going to make, am I more just, do I have the illusion of free will? And I'm just an actor forced to follow this script.
Nobody can argue against it either.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't think free will really is a thing. Let me explain why. I mean, in the way it's used, yes, I believe it is accurate. You can make your own choices and what's there, but not every time do you have a choice.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, no. I look at it this way: we are a victim of a universe that is constantly expanding, and we are floating in this expanding universe with it.
Yeah.
So in a sense, it's really just not really in control of anything of it, unless we can make the universe alter to us and not affect somebody else's free will.
Yeah.
And here's another thing. Here's another thing. If God would just reveal himself to me, I still have free will to make my choice if I want to worship him or not. So they can't use that argument,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really, I mean, I would argue that, to an extent, even if you did have free will, the way the Bible's worded, you don't.
Yeah.
Even under God's standard of free will, I'll even give them that God's real, and and you have free will. You can choose, but you really don't, because you don't have a choice according to the Bible. So much is it's either believe or be tortured for all time. Like, I'll actually use a real life example. I have a friend. I have a friend and she's trans. Now,
prayers are your way of saying you don't like God's divine plan. You want it to change.
Yeah. And with and with her, she is trans. She just can't come out yet due to family issues. And literally, her dad has said that girls like her should have the boy beaten back in them. She lives with her parents still, because just other reasons that she can't until she can get to university. She can't really get away. And so really she has a choice of coming out and being who she is and facing possibly being beaten or thrown out on the street with nowhere to go, or have to live a lie. Well, there really ain't much of a choice there. She has to live the lie right now. And so there really ain't much of a choice. Because really, and that's why I argue that Christians don't have much of a choice but to believe. Because if they stop believing, they you either believe God, worship him, and butt kiss him and stroke his ego, or you suffer a fate worse than death.
Lady Unicorn says, I need to go. And an hour later.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I just
how it's going to be almost 3 hours. You should have left.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
I know.
we're having interesting talk, so
great,
that's
man. We're definitely going to do this again.
yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah, if you need me, yeah, Cap Brony on Twitter, or get a hold of Demi, and she can get a hold of me. She can message me.
Excellent.
Actually, what's your Twitter? Just out of curiosity, I'll follow you.
Same thing, Johnny DriveBYE. Just Johnny DriveBYE. Yeah, that'll get you there. But BYE on the DriveBYE, and it's all one word.
Yeah, I see it. All right. I just
yeah, DM me or whatever. Yeah, I think
just hit follow. So
cool, man.
Yeah. I just sent you a message saying, "Hey, it's Cap." So there you go.
All right, cool. All right, you take care, man. Thanks for stopping in.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah, no problem. Well, thank Demi for sending me the invite. She mentioned Red Pill Religion, and literally, I went, huh?
Yeah, that's that.
That piqued my
invite
interest.
somebody. I'm like, no, I don't mind.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah, because yeah. See you, man.